This weekend at Kittles, save on the largest selection of sofas. Every style, every color, even leather. Everything is on sale. Plus, make no down payment, no monthly payments, and pay no interest for 1 year during the summer sale. This weekend only at Kittles.
Hello, and thank you for logging on to IndyStar.tv. I'm James Burns, and here are the Indianapolis Star's top stories. Sniper shots ring far and wide. The FBI has joined the investigation that killed one and injured another along 2 Indiana interstates. A former IPS substitute teacher has been arrested on accusations he molested a student in 2005. And should the Indiana Family and Social Service Administration sign a contract worth nearly $1 billion? Some say no when the winning contractor is the former employer of the agency's newest director. This and more local news for the most trusted name in news, the Indianapolis Star. Hello, and thanks for logging on to IndyStar.tv. This in from Star reporters James Gillespie and Rebecca Neal in our downtown bureau. The FBI joined state police helicopters, tracking dogs, and troopers in a sweeping task force in the search for an unseen enemy. The sniper who killed one motorist wounded another and may have shot up 2 vehicles at a second location 2 hours away. Sergeant Jerry Gooden said state police would consider the 4 interstate shootings early Sunday connected until proven otherwise. This much is known. 2 pickup trucks headed south on I65 near Seymour were fired on about 12:30 a.m. Sunday. A passenger in one truck, 40-year-old Jerry L. Ross of New Albany, was killed. In the second truck, a bullet grazed the left side of a man's face. A semi was fired on about 2 hours later near Muncie. That crime scene is about a 2-hour drive from the first. The truck driver, Richard Greek, 57, of Kunkel, Ohio, was not hurt. The 4th shooting was reported 1 mile away and 1 hour earlier. Police need a break to solve the case. At a Sunday night news conference, Gooden asked that all businesses near Indiana interstates, particularly those adjoining I-65 and I-69, preserve any videotapes from surveillance cameras. Anyone with information is asked to contact the State Police Task Force at 1-800-622-4962. More information about this story is available online now at IndyStar.com and in tomorrow's Indianapolis Star. As first reported on IndyStar.com, Star reporter Vic Reichart reports that a former Indianapolis Public Schools substitute teacher was arrested Saturday on accusations he molested a Longfellow Middle School 8th grader in 2005. Larry Wilcoxon, 27, was charged with 3 counts of child molesting and remained in Marion County Jail this morning with a bond set at $100,000. According to Marion County prosecutors, Wilcoxon molested a 13-year-old girl 3 times in June of 2005 while he worked as a substitute teacher at the school. Wilcoxon gave the victim a photograph of his new body, which prosecutors said she showed to several classmates. Prosecutors said 3 other students told authorities that they saw the pictures. School officials fired Wilcoxon in February of 2006 after he reportedly exposed himself to a female custodian, prosecutor said. Log on later today to IndyStar.com to find out when a trial date will be set and further details in this breaking story. In today's cover story, Star investigative reporter Tim Evans reveals that a $1 billion proposal to privatize the application process for welfare benefits in Indiana now has a favored candidate, a group that includes the most recent past employer of the state's social services chief. Governor Mitch Daniels recently confirmed the only group left in negotiations is an IBM-led team of 10 companies that includes Dallas-based Affiliated Computer Systems, which is where Indiana Family and Social Service Administration Chief Mitch Robe worked just before joining state government. If approved, the group would collect and manage information on poor, disabled, and elderly Hoosiers who apply for state welfare benefits. Currently, about 2,500 state employees make those decisions for about 1 million Hoosiers. Having just one candidate for such a large and important contract may provide fodder for critics of privatization and political foes of Daniels and Robe, although an expert on government ethics said the situation doesn't necessarily pose a conflict of interest. Another consortium that threw its hat into the group, the Accenture Group, is inactive right now, Daniels said. Peter So, a spokesman for Bermuda-based Accenture, which is embroiled in controversy over problems with a similar state project in Texas, said Friday it would be inappropriate for comment. Robe said that he has no stake, financial or otherwise, in ACS and has never tried to hide his past. Quote, "The process has been completely inconsistent with the law and completely above board," he said. Also noted the prior Democratic administration hired ACS for 2 significant projects in his agency, which already spends more than 90% of its budget with private contractors. Get more details on the FSSA contract and how Daniels' administration has been handling this sensitive issue in today's edition of the Indianapolis Star, or log on to IndyStar.com. Have you donated blood lately? Not likely, according to Star reporter Gavin Lesnick, who reports that blood donations are cooling off as the heat of summer continues. The Indiana Blood Center was critically low on blood earlier this month and is still dealing with a shortage of type O positive and negative blood. The center likes to keep about 2,000 units of blood available, a 4-day supply, but has been operating this month with just a quarter of that. The shortage nearly forced area hospitals to cancel elective surgeries, said Mike Pajetko, Vice President of Operations at the Blood Center. The biggest obstacle blood banks face, officials say, is getting in touch with younger donors. At the Indiana Blood Center, baby boomers and their parents' generation give blood often, but the younger set hasn't caught on in the same way. Of the 78,000 people who donated blood in the last 12 months at the center, just 30% of them were under 30 years old. Says Fuller, imagine if you found out your community had only 48 hours of gasoline left. We'd be very panicked and we'd consider it a crisis. That's how people need to respond to a shortage in the blood supply. You can find a list of blood donation centers online right now at IndyStar.com/donateblood. Coming up, we'll cover a rundown of sports headlines and hear from Bob Kravitz on why the RCA Championships finally got the singles final it deserves.
In April, hailstorms ripped across Indianapolis. 500,000 homes and businesses were affected. Yet some Hoosiers still haven't had their roof checked for hail damage. It's not too late. Call CMR to schedule a free roof inspection today. CMR Construction and Roofing can detect and repair your hail-damaged roof and siding. Got a small house with a big problem or a big house with a small problem? We've got you covered. CMR's fleet of trucks are ready and waiting for your call. Protect your most valuable asset. Experience the CMR difference today.
And now, from the largest sports news desk in Indiana, a look at what's happening today in local sports. The Indiana Pacers traded point guard Anthony Johnson to the Dallas Mavericks for 3 players, the team announced today. The Star was the first to report on this impending trade on Sunday. The Pacers received Darrell Armstrong, Raul Marshall, and Josh Powell. All 3 were reserves for the Mavs. Pacers president Larry Bird said in a news conference, Darrell Armstrong is a good fit, a solid professional, a great guy in the locker room, and someone who brings a lot of energy to the team. He continued later, both Powell and Marshall are young and talented players who will possibly help us as we're excited to take a look at them. Their experience with a championship caliber team like Dallas last season gives them the mentality of what it takes to win at the highest level. Also on the Pacers roster, Fred Jones is headed to Toronto. Jones's agent said Sunday that the shooting guard has agreed to a 3-year deal for about $11 million with the Raptors. Jones was a restricted free agent, but the Pacers recently rescinded their qualifying offer, making him an unrestricted free agent. Jones, the number 14 pick in the 2002 draft, spent his first 4 seasons with the Pacers where he averaged 7.7 points and 2.2 rebounds. In baseball, Indianapolis Indians' own Yurindel Del Castor's 7th-inning home run gave the Tribe the lead, and pitcher John Ballas retired the final 6 Braves on Sunday as the Indians edged Richmond 8-6. The Indians play later today at 2 p.m. in Richmond. You can hear them on local radio station WXLW 950 AM. In swimming, 4 Hoosiers are giving the U.S. a big boost. 2 years after American divers failed to win an Olympic medal, a contingent of Hoosiers is trying to make sure that doesn't happen again in 2008. 4 Indiana teenagers combined to win 2 World Cup silver medals in the synchronized event Sunday at Chengdu, China, in diving's top international event of 2006. David Budia, 17 of Noblesville, and Thomas Fincham, 16 of Indianapolis, finished second in men's synchro 10-meter. Kelsey Bryant, 17 of Plainfield, and Ariel Rittenhouse, 15 Indianapolis, were second in women's synchro 3-meter. You can find more details on these stories as well as national sports coverage online at IndyStar.com/sports, including all the detailed box scores and game summaries from Major League sports around the globe. Coming up next, a look at the things to do and places to go from Intake's own Braden Nicholson.
Here's another concert series update for Verizon Wireless Music Center.
Looking for something to do tonight or this weekend? Now joining us is Intake event expert Braden Nicholson to let us know what great bets are up this week for you to consider. Braden?
All right, let's talk entertainment for a minute. We got 3 things to look at right now. Tonight at the Vogue is Ryan Adams' show. He's formerly of Whiskeytown, indie rock singer-songwriter. Show is not sold out yet, so $20 at the door if you'd like to go. Tomorrow, for some real rock and roll, one of my favorite venues, The Lawn, is going to host the Black Crowes with the Robert Randolph Family Band. So some good old school rock. Finally, the 50th edition of the State Fair starts this weekend through the 20th. Get out for some family fun. I'm sure they're going to deep fry something, so check it out if you get a chance. Now, you don't have to take all this from me. Pick up a copy of Intake or go online to intakeweekly.com for thousands of other suggestions. Otherwise, have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks, Braden. Remember, you can find the most comprehensive calendar listings, dining and bar guides for Indy online at intakeweekly.com. Coming up, learn how a Hoosier who has left Indy to go to Silicon Valley to make his fortune has returned to Indiana to lead a new software startup. Plus, hear what Star business columnist Daniel Lee thinks about Kimball International and a potential hot streak investors should be considering.
The biggest sale of the year is going on now at Penske Honda. This week only. Certified Hondas starting at $10,995. Or special 2.9% financing on certified Odysseys. Certified Hondas starting at $10,995. Or 2.9% financing on certified Odysseys. There's never been a better time to drive a Honda than during the 2006 Honda Model Year-End Clearance. Sale ends Saturday. Experience the Penske difference at Penske Honda.
Welcome back. Turning to our business news desk, Star reporter Daniel Lee reports. As a 12-year-old kid growing up in industrial northwest Indiana, Jeff Reddy jotted down his life goals. Reddy mostly dreamed of being a hotshot creator of video games, but one thing was purely financial, to become a millionaire by the time he was 30. He achieved that at 29 and a half. In 2004, he got his share of a $41.5 million sale of the Silicon Valley startup he co-founded. These days, Reddy's rebooting his life and career goals, looking to help transform a fledgling software company into a thriving tech player in an unlikely spot, Muncie. Reddy, who returned from California with his wife in late 2004, recently took the reins as chief executive of Paragent, a small company that has developed software to help IT managers keep tabs on many computers and devices. Paragent software warns of problems such as a hard drive that's overloaded or a computer that doesn't have proper software updates. Reddy said Paragent, founded in 2003 by 3 poker-playing buddies in Muncie, has a good product, and they've raised $700,000 in funding, and its customers including Ball State University. Reddy, using his marketing and sales experience, says his job is to, quote, help them take the product that they've made and blast it out of the marketplace. Let's now stop into the business department to hear what Star business reporter and columnist Daniel Lee has to say about what's happening at Jasper-based Kimball International.
Kimball International has been a stock that's been on a hot streak. If you didn't notice, don't feel bad, because very few people did, actually. This is a company that's based in Jasper, Indiana, a small town. They're in an industry that's not exactly high profile. They make furniture and electronics. And basically, this stock has been a poor performer for many years. It's only followed by 2 analysts on Wall Street. But that's all changed this last 6 months. The first 6 months of the year, actually, the stock was one of the top performers in the whole state of Indiana. It's gained about 63% in value. And to find out about that, I talked to just one of the 2 analysts that cover the company, and he was telling me how the company completely has changed its focus and its business model. Basically, he said they're less vertically integrated, which basically means they're not focusing on making entire products, but picking and choosing parts of the process that are most profitable to them. Why this has been a good story for investors lately, it's not been all good news, because some of those moves have been very painful. Kimball has over the years employed thousands of people in Indiana, and they've been cutting down on that workforce quite a bit. In fact, on September 1st, they're going to be closing a plant in Auburn, Indiana, up north, which has 130 workers who are going to have to be looking for new jobs. In fact, their Indiana workforce since 2004 has dropped from 5,200 people down almost 1,000 to 4,400 people. But these are indeed intriguing times and important times for Kimball to see how they'll adjust to the global economy and go forward, both for their investors and their workers. And indeed, the company's leadership is showing a sign of faith in the company. They've recently several 6 or 7 executives, including the CEO, have added thousands of shares to their own personal holdings by exercising stock options, and instead of cashing them in for immediate cash gains, held on to those shares. So that's another sign of interest and another reason to watch this company that oftentimes goes unnoticed.
Here's what you can expect in tomorrow's edition of the Indianapolis Star. What are suburban police doing to combat crime spillovers from Indy? Why is debris from Indiana University construction being dumped illegally? And what does Star political insider Matthew Tolley think about Senator By's chances as a presidential candidate? Thanks for logging on to IndyStar.tv. I'm James Burns. Remember, no one provides more headlines, more details, and more insider perspective than the Indianapolis Star. Have a great day.
Outgrown your old car? Start the search for your next used car at CarMax. We have hundreds of models from over 30 top car brands, so no matter what kind of used car you need, you can find it at CarMax. CarMax, the way car buying should be.